It's pretty strange when you think about it. One of the most common fears in the world is of a character whose whole job is to make us laugh. Today we're going to pull back the curtain on coulrophobia, that's the fear of clowns, and figure out why those painted-on smiles can so easily feel like a symbol of pure terror.
So, have you ever seen a clown and just felt a little bit off? Like a chill runs down your spine? Yeah, you are definitely not alone. The whole creepy clown thing is a huge part of our culture, from horror movies to spooky stories. But why, though? What is it about these figures who are supposed to be all about joy that so often just fills us with dread? Let's get into it.
So is this just something we all kind of dislike, or is it actually something deeper? Let's get a little more official here and put a proper name to that very specific, very real feeling of dread.
And there it is. The clinical term is coulrophobia. Now, the two most important words here are intense and irrational. This isn't just about finding clowns kind of annoying or lame. We're talking about a genuine phobia, and it can be set off by anything. A clown at a party, a character in a movie, or even just a picture.
Okay, so now that we have a name for it, the million-dollar question is, where does it even come from? What's at the root of coulrophobia?
This is where it gets really fascinating. For some people, it all goes back to one specific moment, a scary run-in with a clown when they were a kid that just stuck. For a whole lot of others, though, it's all about pop culture. You see a movie like It, and, well, that image of Pennywise can be enough to lock in that fear for life. But then there are the things that are just built into the idea of a clown. Think about it. That huge, fixed smile is fundamentally creepy because you can't see what the person is really feeling. We humans are wired to read faces, so when we can't, our brain just kind of short circuits. And that ties right into their unpredictable behavior. You never know what they're going to do next. And finally, sometimes this fear can actually be a sign of a bigger underlying anxiety issue.
All right, so understanding why it happens is one piece of the puzzle. But what does this phobia actually feel like for someone who has it, in the moment? Let's take a look at how this fear actually shows up physically.
So the reaction is not just in your head. It is visceral and it is immediate. We're talking a full-blown fight-or-flight response. Your body gets flooded with adrenaline, and that leads to this intense wave of panic. You might start sweating, shaking, and your heart feels like it's about to beat right out of your chest. These are seriously powerful, involuntary symptoms that can just completely take over.
And this is where you see the real-world impact. Because if you're trying to avoid that awful physical feeling, you start avoiding any place you might see a clown. All of a sudden, things that are supposed to be fun, like birthday parties, town parades, or festivals, become these major sources of anxiety. It can really lead to people feeling isolated and distressed.
But here's the really good news. This is not a life sentence. Not at all. Like a lot of phobias, there's actually a clear and super effective path to managing and even overcoming this fear. The best approach is a structured one that's been proven to work. It often kicks off with something called cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT. Basically, it helps you identify and challenge those automatic negative thoughts. So a therapist might help you question that instant belief that every clown is a threat. This usually goes hand in hand with gradual exposure therapy, where you're slowly and safely introduced to pictures or ideas of clowns to kind of dial down that fear response over time. On top of that, learning things like relaxation or mindfulness techniques can be a game changer for managing anxiety in the moment. And in some of the more severe cases, medication can help get the panic symptoms under control so the therapy can be even more effective.
So the bottom line here is that help is out there, and it really, really works. With the right support, people can absolutely learn to manage their reactions, regain control, and just dramatically reduce the hold this fear has on their lives. And that brings us to our last thought for today. When you strip away the big shoes and the red nose, is our fear of clowns really about the clowns themselves? Or maybe, just maybe, is it a reflection of something much deeper, something much more human? Our fear of what we can't see and what we just don't understand? Something to think about.